the problem what we are trying to solve is that how can we help people to adopt Kubernetes faster, how people are able to connect to this Kubernetes cluster, how they are able to observe and have the observability over the cloud native workloads, and make it so that it's frictionless and people who download and install Lens will get immediate value.
Hi, this is your host Abdul Bhartia, and we are here at KubeCon and Cloud Native Con in Paris. And today we have with us once again Miska Kaipiainen, VP of Engineering at Mirantis. Miska, it's great to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course, it's great to have you back on the show. This is the second day, if I'm not wrong. When you were at the booth and when you interact with folks, what kind of audience you're seeing and what kind of discussions you're seeing?
Obviously, AI has been a big topic here at the KubeCon, so some people want to talk about AI-related topics, but specifically people coming to our booth, they know some of our products, and of course, our Lens product is very familiar amongst the people here at the KubeCon. So we are meeting with a lot of the end users, like software developers who do the cloud-native software development, as well the operators who operate the Kubernetes clusters. And it's been very good discussions, and always great to hear the feedback from our users.
And what kind of feedback are you getting?
They love the product, So it is very, very popular product amongst the crowd in here.
Tell us what you folks announced here at the conference in terms of course, Lens.
We just released a new early access version of our latest and greatest Lens desktop product. The name of the product is Lens 2024, and it's massively improving the Lens product in terms of user experience. It has the built-in integration with AWS, EKS clusters, being able to access those clusters easily and securely. And overall, we are aiming to include as many of the user recommendations and feature requests into this release as possible. So this is a big, big release for us.
Can you also talk about the updates that you made to this release? How much was based on the feedback they received, and how much was based on your either client's requirement or your own product roadmap?
I would say that it's probably 50-50, So there has been these very long requested features like can we have aggregated logs streaming from when we are looking at our deployments, can we have the aggregated logs from all the containers that belong to that deployment? So features like that, so they are all part of the product now, as well as the much more flexibility on the time series data visualization to have ability to zoom out, go look more back in the history. So these type of functionality, but then at the same time, we are on a mission to remove complexity, accelerate productivity for our users. So many of the features we have been adding to the product are just based on our roadmap. To go towards this direction.
Of course, you cannot share too much what's next on the roadmap, but what are the things that you folks are working on where users say, hey, this is next in Lens?
Well, obviously, we all know that AI is a quite big topic, so I don't think it's a big secret. We are also looking into AI and how to incorporate AI with Lens. As well as this very long requested functionality to have Lens available in web browsers. So those are kind of some of the, bits that we are.
You have been part of the community for a very long time, and then you became part of the Mirantis. How have you seen the evolution of Kubernetes itself based on the workload? Because you folks you cater to a lot of customers where you're seeing, hey, Kubernetes as a workload itself, Kubernetes itself is evolving. To phrase it, Kubernetes is not evolving, but the workloads are, new workloads are emerging, so the vendor ecosystem is evolving. How are you seeing that evolution there?
Well, interestingly, so we have such a wide reach with our product. So we have visibility, with amazing, visibility to all different types of workloads that are being run around the globe. For me, perhaps the most interesting part has been to learn that in the kind of penetration of Kubernetes, it's happening everywhere in the most weird places. So there might be Annie's flower shop, and for some reason Annie's flower shop is also running Kubernetes. I don't know for what, but it's just the breadth of the users, from different parts of the world and for different use cases that we can even. It's just mind-boggling, So the adoption and also the number of users. So those are the things that have been kind of be very kind of inspiring to me to see.
And since we are talking about users, customers, you have a breadth of customers, big enterprises, small enterprises, individuals, just people who are enthusiasts. You folks also added a tier for Lens. So talk about that and who is the target for that tier?
Yeah, that's right. So we have Lens offering is basically we have a free offering and we have also paid offering for the Lens product. We have been very fortunate that every single iconic logo on this planet, they are also our paying customers. And now we have been getting a lot of requests for features that are aimed for these larger enterprises, like having ability to better manage the users who have access to the paid version. So SSO, SCIM, enhanced security, having support for virtual desktop interfaces and so forth. So this offering is now available as part of our new Lens Enterprise product offering that we just released and announced, and now it's available for general public.
So if you look at this offering, how many tiers are there in total and who's the target? Yeah.
We have total of 3 tiers. So we have the Lens Personal, that is the free of charge. Then we have the Lens Pro, and then we have the Lens Enterprise.
And what are the limitations or benefits of each tier?
So the Lens Personal is aimed for the smaller companies. Lens Pro is truly then for the professionals who work for the bigger companies, and the enterprise then adds all the capabilities that the enterprises require.
Now I want to also talk about the role that you see of Lens in the larger Kubernetes ecosystem to solve some of the pain points and problems.
Lens is quite unique product, so there is not a lot of competition. So we are the desktop application that basically allows the user to connect to all the different places that the user has been given access by his employer or the company you are working for. So you are given access to certain places. Lens will utilize the access control provided for this user and doesn't require anything to be installed in the cluster. So this is not a SaaS offering. This is the problem what we are trying to solve is that how can we help people to adopt Kubernetes faster, how people are able to connect to this Kubernetes cluster, how they are able to observe and have the observability over the cloud native workloads and make it so that it's frictionless and people who download and install Lens will get immediate value, immediately once they start the software. So we are trying to solve the complexity issue. That's the
big one. When you created Lens back then, and it got acquired, the technology and the team got acquired and moved there. How have you, what problem you saw back then that you wanted to solve? And if that problem is still relevant or the Lens has also evolved?
Kind of funny because the product looks pretty much, the same, like it was like 5 years ago. So the problem we tried to do and solve back in then, I would say that the core problem is still the same that we are still solving. With every new complex technology that is emerging, so the biggest challenge usually for these new technologies is that how to make it more accessible. And I have a little bit of experience from the past, from technologies outside from Kubernetes. I was very much involved in the mesh networking space. And in there as well, it's a highly complex technology, and the key in there to help with the adoption is actually to figure out the ways how you can simplify it and how you can make it so that it's more easy for humans to understand. So we did the same for Kubernetes, and I think we are still on the same path.
Since we are talking about making things easier, of course your focus, no pun intended, is on Lens. but Mirantis is doing a lot of the Cosmotron. A lot of products are there which are aimed at, K0s is there. So a lot of focus is also making things easier, simpler. So can you also talk about when we look at Mirantis overall, how it's making through all these projects, things easier to, if you cannot reduce the complexity, at least make it easier for customers to deal with it?
Yeah, so there are basically two sides. So how we like to look at the world is that the same set of technology, we need to look at it from the point of view of the people who actually deploy and create this infrastructure, and then there is actually the consumers for this infrastructure, and like the products like you mentioned, the K0's Cosmotron, try to make the life for the infra operations people easy to roll out the fabric of Kubernetes basically everywhere, and then the Lens basically piece is solving the part that how to make it accessible actually for the consumers of this complex infrastructure, so that we will get the kind of benefit from not just by making an investment in the infrastructure, but also reaping the benefits from the investment by making it easier for your developers to utilize that infra. So I think all of these products we are creating, they very much support each other and create this kind of one beautiful experience for no matter if you are an operator or if you are a consumer of this infra.
Miska, once again, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about, of course, Lens, Cosmotron, and all those other projects, also the importance of Lens and Mirantis in this ecosystem. Thanks for great insight, and as usual, I look forward to talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, it was a pleasure.